It's not a big deal. So what do we have here? This is a file. And what's this? Another file? Sort of. This is a rasp. And as you can see, very broad. Now, handles. Little funny thing about the handles. Each of these is made of the same redwood that the arms on that saw were. Like I said, I got a big board of it and chopped it up. Now the files I purchased, these were the file and the rasp were part of a 24-piece set I got for like 20 bucks or 25 bucks at Tractor Supply. Again, not a big deal. I still got the rest of them out in my shop for general purpose use that's not just hand tool. But from what I have read, a traditional woodworker in the later Middle Ages would have 1 or 2 rasps. And at the time, from what we understand, especially about English carpentry, because that's what I'm kind of focusing on, is they did not, you had a fine rasp and a rasp. They didn't use the word file the way we do now, but translation is your woodworkers had a rasp and a file. And if you look at these handles, like I said, these started off as chunks of wood, which I shaped into the shape that I wanted my hand to be gripping when I was using these. This is a broader shape. I want more support because the rasp has much more resistance, and I'm probably much more aggressively going after wood with it. And set that there. And this one has a much more tapered handle, better grip, and it's frankly more of a nimble shape. And this is for finer work. And both of them are half round. If you look at the profile, this face right here is flat, and this one is curved. So it's a two-sided file with no edges. And this part right here, the curved side, lets me get in and do curves like this very nicely. In terms of how they're fixed in, by the way, that's just a narrow drill bit down about 1 inch, then a narrower drill bit past that, and then I just hammered this in, and you're never going to get this out. Or if you are, you're a better man than I am. Let's see here. All right. So, what else do we have? What is this? This is a draw knife. It's got the handles. What you'll do is you'll lock up a stave or a board of wood, and if you want to round it out or round an edge or shape an edge, this has an edge on it right there, which is razor sharp. This one I honed with a file for about an hour, about a half hour, and then I took a honing stone to it to give it a nice edge. You can shave with this, make no mistake. And you just grab it like this, and with a little bit of practice, which I have had, I did put a chunk of wood in there just to kind of get a feel for it, and I spent about an hour just taking this wood down to a twig effectively. You can very aggressively rip a whole lot of wood off, or I can get some very fine shavings off. And it's just really nice. Takes a little bit of practice, but really nice controlled tool for shaving down wood, especially if you want to round the outside edge. So what else do we have in here? We're going to set this down. Now here's something all the way down at the bottom. I'm normally looking over my toolbox when I reach for this stuff, so a little bit of a blind reach here. My honing stone. Now, reality is, this is a 2-type honing stone. It's got 2 different grits on it. This is fine grit, and this is heavy grit. But the honing stone was, all the information I have found says you had honing stones in your toolbox because keeping your tools sharp was not something you did once a week. Frankly, it wasn't something you did once a day. It was something you would do multiple times a day as part of general maintenance for your tools, depending on how often you use them. So the honing stone is that I knew early on that was going to be a dedicated accoutrement to my toolbox. Very early on, I made sure I had a space for it. So, what's this? What do we got here? A hammer. Wait, this is a modern hammer, is that right? Actually, yeah, it is. Obviously, there's some construction details that are very different. I know historically there were a lot of hammers that had metal handles and some that had wood handles all the way up where the hammerhead mounted through the handle. There are much different ways to approach the idea of handle and head. But the idea of a striking surface with a weight behind it, with a claw behind it for pulling things, even if it wasn't pulling nails, for pulling things up. We have examples very, very similar to this, all the way back to the Romans. So, yes, this is a modern hammer, and if anyone looks at it, they're going to say it's a modern hammer, and it is never going to pass the true historical aesthetic of a period hammer. But there is absolutely no functionality in this that a 12th century carpenter wasn't going to find in his, if he had a proper kit, wasn't going to find in his kit. So this is something I'm really, really glad works for me. I had an extra hammer that I liked. This is a good weight for me. It's heavy. It lets me get up and do tapping. And the handle actually tapers, so I have a really good feel for detail work. Or if I'm driving a nail, I got a good heavy grip and it's flared down at the bottom. And we know that a lot of these characteristics were reflected in some period hammers. So this is a good addition to my kit. Now, let's what do we have here? Oh, the stories I could tell you about this. So, this is a bit brace. Probably seen them on cartoons. An old world drill, they're sometimes called. And now, historically, for our period, for our purposes, bit braces are not an ancient tool. They are an old tool. You see them in the last probably 300, maybe 400 years, maybe 200 or 300 years of the SCA. But they absolutely were not they absolutely were not something you would see in Rome or in Greece or, again, I want to say maybe 1300, 1400 you see them. Give me 1 second here. There we go. This one even has a bit on, or a adjuster on it so you can loosen stuff too, but that's not why I use it. This is how you drilled holes, and I actually have the bits for it down at the bottom, and I'll show those to you in a minute. But early ones were made of wood, and later on in period we do have examples of metal ones. Now, story about this one, if you go online right now and look for bit brace, have your wallet ready, because I hunted for these for almost 14 months. And at one point, the company, Garrick Wade, made a new bit brace with a modern chuck on it. And I want to say they were asking for $50, $65 for it, which isn't unheard of. Then they stopped producing it. Now, you go look for a brand new Garrick Wade bit brace on Amazon or eBay, they want $120, $130. I mean, you're now in mid-range electric drill territory. That is, it's just spooky what those cost. And if you go look for a full bit brace set, even used, if it's under $80, it probably needs substantial resurfacing. It may need to have parts replaced. It may be broken. It may be bent or rusted through. the chuck may be just shot to hell. That's been my experience with a lot of the ones I've looked at. Or you have a really nice serviceable set with a good selection of bits, and they want $150, $200. I mean, it's pretty scary. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Then one day, I hopped online, did my usual quick searches, and this and its brother, which is out in the garage right now, and a full set of 24 different bits for $18. Someone was cleaning out their late grandfather's estate or something, and we're just trying to offload it. And I dove on that fast. Did not ask. I mean, it was 18 and it was 20 for shipping. So we're at just shy, and it was taxed, and just shy of 40. I'm like, shut up and take my money, and have not regretted that. It cuts beautifully, by the way. This one with its biggest bit will cut a clean hole through 3-inch oak. I mean, it takes some doing. It's not as easy as a power drill. I'm not claiming it is, but in terms of hand tool woodworking, this will cut a hole clean and clear through hardwood. It's beautiful. I'm really glad I have it. It's a wonderful addition to my kit. If you want to get into hand tool woodworking and are looking to add a bit brace to your kit, that is one of those tools that you are going to have to do your research on, because getting one of them is not going to be easy. You're either going to be ready to part with some serious money, or you're going to have to do a lot of hunting around for an older one that's still serviceable, or you're going to have to fix an unserviceable one. So